I can have the sheriff come up.
Are we done?
Just get
I'm just picking up my jacket so I don't forget it. I'll be back.
Come on in here, make one. Oh, you're not going to give
All right, everyone, this will be our last group. Candidates for Ashe County Sheriff. We have 3 candidates. They are seated here in ballot order. The names that's on the ballot: Earl Cox, Brandon Shepard, B. Phil Howard. Let's go ahead and get started. You have opening remarks for 2 minutes. Start with Mr. Cox.
Thank you for being here and opportunity to be able to be here to talk with people. My name's Earl Cox. I was born and raised here in Ashe County, attended Big Creek High School. Most of my law enforcement career was here in Ashe County. I left here and worked some bigger departments down in Mecklenburg County, Gaston County for a while. Also worked with the campus police as well as the other law enforcement, and I've done probation, parole, and other departments. And I've enjoyed my law enforcement career. All I've ever done has been in law enforcement. I've had an ample amount of training throughout my years in law enforcement, and I've always been enjoyed serving for people, protecting people. That's what I intend to do for Ashe County is be able to help them and enforce and also protect them as well.
Thank you. Mr. Shepard, 2 minutes, opening remarks.
Thank y'all for having us, and thank everybody for being here. I've been in law enforcement for about 14 years. It's my calling to serve people. I come from a long line of ministers, and everybody thought I was going to be a pastor, but I chose a different route. And this is how I give back to people, by serving my communities. I'm currently employed at Jefferson PD. I'm not a politician, and I have no desire to be a politician. I want to be here for the people that put me in office if I'm so elected. This county is everything to me. Born and raised right here. Got deep roots, deep in Ashe County. love serving people. And this county's home. And I just want to be here and be available to the people. I'm so elected to be here for them, to help them no matter what. And, I just thank my wife and my kids. I've got 4 children, and I couldn't do this without them, and without the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Before we took on this adventure, I prayed hard. And usually if you pray, the Lord will either open the door or He'll shut it. And He opened this one. So I said, okay, Lord, I'm here. I'll do what you want. So that's why I'm here. Like I said, I care about the people here. I care about this county, and I want to see it do well. I want to see the people do well.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. Mr. Howell?
Good evening, I'm Phil Howell, I'm the current sheriff. If I was running for commissioner tonight, I would ask for y'all's vote to fix the AC here at the courthouse. Everybody online, if y'all know, we're all suffering, but I will tell you that since I've been sheriff, I've never asked for anybody's vote. I've always said, you should all vote for who the candidate that you think is going to do the best, including these gentlemen here. And that should be how it is, and that should how it always be. So I do appreciate everybody coming tonight. I'm born and raised in Laurel Springs by my mother and father, and grew up going to West Jefferson and Beaver Creek, the high school, went to NC State University, where graduated Fisheries and Wildlife, and then I went to basic law enforcement training where I met my wife, who was an SBI agent at the time. And I've got a little one for everybody knows that keeps standing and giving me thumbs up, and she's took her shoes off, and she's barefoot now. So running around, she's been passing out notes.
No, I'm not.
So anyway, you find out very quickly that the joy of my life is my family. If I'm not at the office or I'm not in the community, I'm with them. We're all in the same car together, going places, sports and whatnot, and that's just what we do as our family, and that's where we stand. Moved to the sheriff's office after 5 years with the state in 2010, and became an undercover narcotics officer before I went into 911 dispatch in 2015. And then in 2018, elected as sheriff, and I've been there for the last 7 to 8 years. And very proud to be your sheriff. I enjoy the job. I enjoy the back and forth with the family and the nonstop madness that my life entails as your sheriff and being a servant for everybody. The other thing I want everybody to know is we come back to Ashton 2010. We were members at Bethany United Methodist for 12 years before joining Appalachian Church. And that is important to me because faith and family is the biggest thing that we have back here on my row of women and ladies back there. I got a whole hairstyle and hair color all the way across.
Thank you. All right, we'll have 2 questions for the moderator, then we've got 1 from the audience. So the first question will go to Mr. Shepherd. What is the biggest problem faced by Ashe County that law enforcement is addressing or should address?
That's a good question. To me, the biggest problem facing Ashe County is our drug problem. We're doing a lot. The county's doing a lot to try to cut down on that, but I think we can do more. We got a cycle here in the county. Kids see parents do it, they live it, and I'd like to try to get a program in the schools for our SROs. We've got them in the schools. Our SROs are there. I was an SRO for a long time. I worked in Watauga County for 4 years, and I was a dare instructor. And I seen what good come of having a program in the schools where the law enforcement are teaching. We got to try to break that drug cycle. We got to try to help our kids and try to prevent it if we can. Not really push and dare, but if we come up with some kind of program Whether it's on our own, there's other programs out there that can be taught in our school system with the kids. There's programs out there that goes from kindergarten all the way to seniors. I would like to see the sheriff's office, if I'm elected, to see that put in place, working with the school system, and try to break that cycle. Try to educate the kids on the dangers and things of that nature. Also like to, help the people that are addicted on drugs. Set up some type of program to be monitored or to be utilized while they're incarcerated in the jail. Help put them in place, working with local churches or rehabilitation centers, something of that nature to try to get these people help, to try to break that cycle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Howell?
I'm gonna try to keep this under 2 minutes. From my experience as an undercover narcotics officer in 2010 to 2014, you can take off drugs, you can travel to other states and take off drugs and try to take care of them, and we just have more coming in. Once you put them in jail, they'll go away and some of them will come back. So we do address that. Every officer has Narcan in their car, and I'm sure you all do too. It's pretty standard these days, and we bring a lot of people back to life who have overdosed. Two things that we are currently doing at the sheriff's office. One is a big one. Hopefully I don't step on my toes for the next question or whatever. But we haven't announced that we have a new IMAP program. That's an inmate medicated program. It's a treatment program for alcohol and opioid abuse. And that started in November. It's something we've been working on with commissioners for 4 years now. We finally got the money a year and a half ago, and it began in November. The shots begin in November, where an inmate chooses, if they've got that addiction, they actually choose what they want to. They want to participate in the program. They go through a huge medical part of it, and then they turn around and they get a shot every month for 6 months, and that suppresses, it blocks the euphoric feeling that they get when they are doing alcohol abuse and opiates, so any opiates. So that's one thing. The other program is our LEAD program. We just purchased everything a month ago, I believe. We purchased a month ago at the sheriff's office, and it's LEAD, it's the Law Enforcement Officers Against Drugs, to implement with the schools. We've been not cooperating, it's a terrible word to use, isn't it? We've been collaborating with the school system for the last 2 years with the lesson plans, with the focus being on the middle school kids, typically from 5th to 8th grade. Those curriculums and lesson plans have been purchased, and hopefully we implement those soon. If it may be in the middle of the semester, we had Hurricane Helene, we had COVID before, that kind of put a hiccup in that. So we have several things going forward to come back down.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Howell. Mr. Cox, what is the biggest problem faced by Ashe County that law enforcement is addressing or should address?
I think thing like all the other counties cheer is our drugs in our county. I think we need to implement more school resource officers in the schools and help with the drug problem in the schools, as far as maybe some kind of programs that would help these kids learn about these drugs. And another thing, I guess I'm kind of the old school, been in law enforcement 25 plus years. I think you get out here and you patrol and you make vehicle stops and you stop these vehicles that's got these drugs in them. You seize these vehicles and you charge these people. Sooner or later, the word gets out, as you come to Ashe County, you're going to get stopped and you're going to find your drugs and you're going to be put in jail. So that's one thing I think, so it would be a good thing for this county to have implement was a lot of patrolling, as well as school resource officers getting these drugs out of these schools, because I think that's a big problem in the schools is drugs. And, you got your canines, get them to work, put them to work in these schools, find these drugs in these schools. And that's something I will implement every day is, I always say, patrol, and you can stop this problem, at least slow it down. And that's something I've always believed in, and I think it's a working thing that we need to address more. But we do want to protect our kids the best we can from these narcotics that's out here.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. All right. The second question, we'll start with Mr. Howell. Mental health is and is becoming a huge issue in our county. What is law enforcement doing or should do?
mental health is one of the most hopeless things that we deal with in law enforcement. As a sheriff and part of the Sheriff's Association, we are combating on a state level, trying to get more mental health spots in Raleigh. Something we do at the Sheriff's Office is we do enter inmates into, there's two things. The Sheriff's Office does, since we have the jail, we actually implement and send people to safekeeping in Raleigh. So if we have a major issue that we cannot help them with mental health or physical health, it could be any of those areas, those inmates are found a place for a bed in Raleigh, and we actually take them to Raleigh for safekeeping during that time, and it could be either or. The other part of it is in collaboration with the hospitals, Daymark, and any facility. Something that people don't realize is our sheriff's office deals with all these people all across the county, and we try to help them out as much as we can. And helping them out is trying to get them to Daymark Recovery Services, or get a family member to do an involuntary commitment on them, or convince them to go to the hospital and do a voluntary commitment on them and get them some help, whatever that may be. A lot of people call the sheriff's office and they say, hey, we've got a son, father, whatever that we need help with. And I had one personally 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we were able to get them help. We were able to get the deputies out there to actually transport them. It was during the ice. Daymark couldn't reach them. And so we tend to go above and beyond in those situations, just like COVID, just like we all did. We went above and beyond to go to these people, get them to the hospital or Daymark or any other facility. And that's where our deputies come in. And they travel the whole state taking these people to mental institutions to get them help. And then we go back and pick them up whenever they're done.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. All right. Mr. Cox. Mental health is and is becoming a huge issue in our county. What is law enforcement doing or should do?
Mental health has always been a bad thing for this county. When I worked in it years ago, during all my training, it seems like there's always somebody, that had a mental problem. But that's something that is hard to address. You do your best you can. You get them in these programs and try to get them some help. As far as with Daymark, like I said, with other places, and you try to get to these people and maybe get the family to try to convince them so they don't harm themselves, or maybe if you have to do an involuntary commitment, you have to go pick these up. This puts the officer at risk that he may have to physically hurt this person, or sometimes you might even get you killed. So it's a bad situation either way. The whole book around, it's a bad situation, the mental health department. And I worked hard to try to get a hold of this so we could do some kind of different programs, implement stuff that we could try to help these people and get them some help, because nobody wants to see no one get hurt. And you want to try to give everybody every opportunity you can to try to help give them some help to save their life as well as young.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Mr. Shepherd. Mental health is becoming a huge issue in our county. What is law enforcement doing or should do?
Well, like these guys have said, we deal with it on a daily basis. And the problem is bigger than Ashe County. There's not enough facilities in the state to hold people. There's not enough beds. We do what we do. We take them and get them to the hospital to be evaluated. They see a psychiatrist on telepsych. They talk to them, and that person may be in Arizona, Texas, wherever, over a computer. And they decide whether or not they're committable or not. And it all comes down to like one word, and if they're committable and they decide and they commit them, there's just not enough beds. There's not enough mental facilities to house these people. So what usually happens is they set up at the hospital and wait on a bed for a while until somebody says, okay, they've been here 2 weeks. What do we do with them? And most of the time that paperwork gets returned. There's just not enough beds. So it's a bigger problem than just Ashe County, in my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. All right, we have a question from the audience. This question will start with Mr. Cox.
Do you support federal law concerning ICE and will you support locally?
Mr. Cox.
Yes, I, when you know what they are federal officers. And they would request, if I was the sheriff of Ashe County, they would request my assistance. I would work with them any way I could to endure the situation that's going on, to help whatever I could, to help, we don't want to see nobody get hurt. We don't want nobody to get out here and get hurt or hurt someone. So I think it would be I would work with them any way I could because they are a law enforcement officer. And therefore, I would work with a law enforcement officer that requested my assistance.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Mr. Shepherd, same question.
Do I support ICE? ICE is a federal law enforcement agency. I do support ICE, but I don't support going over and just picking up anybody. I work beside people, Hispanic people. There's a lot of good people. Hispanic community. They're just trying to do the right thing. They're supporting their family. We deal with them every day. If they break the law, nobody's above the law. If they've committed a crime, sure. Let's take the proper procedures and put them in jail. And if it's deportation, that's what it is. But I'm not for just going out here and rounding up all of them.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. Mr. Howell.
So currently in Ashe County, from 2010 to 2015, I worked with Homeland Security the entire time. We worked many cases across Tennessee, Georgia, Virginia, and North Carolina together with those Homeland Security people. Same people that you're seeing out there today. Them and Border Patrol have two of the hardest jobs in America, and it is very difficult. Something that I want to tell everybody, since everybody's viewing online, in 2018 when I come into office, we have always, even if the administration for the president has not supported it, we have always supported that. But we supported it to jail when they walk into jail. That's what happens. So how it works is somebody gets arrested because they've got criminal charges out in the community. They've been drunk and disruptive. They've been selling narcotics. They bring into the jail. When we book them in is when we find out that they are illegal. And that is when the Homeland Security is notified. That is when they come and pick them up. We don't go out there and we're not looking for people. We've got our own problems in Ashe County that we need, but we are dealing with the criminals. We do put them in jail and they do get notified when we actually arrest that person that is undocumented. And then they come and pick them up within 2 or 3 days, and then they take them to Atlanta. Something a lot of people don't know is talking about the mental health and traveling across the state. I got 5 guys on the shift. Well, when they start doing transports all across the state to Raleigh or Jacksonville or even to Avery or Charlotte, and they're taking these mental health people, we got to do the same thing for those illegals that they picked up. So if they've got court in Ashe County, we got to go to Atlanta and come back and get them. And that's just the cold hard truth. And now I've got deputies kind of spread out through the state. And that's how we do it. We are looking for crime. We are out there answering calls. And if those people enter our jail, they get notified. And that's been that way since 2018. Even when we marked them in 2018, just because they didn't come and get them, if you know what I mean, that changed with the last administration. They come and get them and take them to Atlanta now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. All right, it's time for closing remarks, up to 2 minutes. We started here with Mr. Cox, so we'll start with Mr. Shepherd. 2 minutes closing.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. This has been great. Appreciate this. Again, I'll say it again. I'm no politician. I don't desire to be a politician. I want to be here for the county. I want to be here. I want to be available. I want to be a boots on the ground sheriff. I'm willing to run calls If we don't have supervision, I'm willing to step up and work a night shift. To have a supervisor on the shift. I'm wanting to implement a 2-man rotation, lieutenant rotation, not just office lieutenant. They're going to be on the road during the busiest hours. That puts another supervisor on the road and puts another man on the road. And that way, if you get a call in Creston, you've got a supervisor there, you've got another supervisor that can look out towards Glendale, Fleetwood, or the rest of the county. I've got a lot of things I want to implement. I've been in law enforcement, worked every day in it for 14 years. Pulled a lot of roles: SRO, courthouse security, working patrol. I've been a sergeant, field training officer certified. I've got a lot of certifications. This is what I do. And I love doing it. I love helping people. Sometimes our job's dirty. Sometimes we get our hands dirty. But that's the nature of the beast. But I try to help everybody I come in contact with. And, everybody that I arrest, I tell them I pray for them. And I've helped do that. I've had a lot of people come to me after they get out of jail and be like, man, thank you. Thank you for treating me with respect. That's what it boils down to. You got to treat people with respect, no matter what they've done. Everybody makes mistakes. There's not anybody in here that hasn't made a mistake in their life. And I just hope that everybody will support me on March 3rd. Appreciate it. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you to my family. Thank you to my Chief Deputy Andrew back there. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shea. Mr. Howe, 2-minute closing.
All right. As a 20-year veteran of law enforcement and your sheriff, I wanted to point something out that we didn't get a question on. I wanted to point out all of our community events and our training. So this side is our training and everything that's internal, and this is just for 1 year in 2024. This is what we do. This is all of our community stuff, and I have a great staff. I feel like I have the best staff that the sheriff's office has ever had. Every sheriff should feel the same way. I truly believe that. I've got a group of 11 people in the office. That's my community team, and they make all this happen. And I know my staff's looking, and we do so much. And I can sit here and show you all the projects that I've got. But something I want to say is go visit the website, sheriffbillhowe.com, or go to Vote Ash. And you can see all of this stuff. I've got everything listed there so you can take a look at it. We talked about narcotics a minute ago, and a big shout out to my narcotics department. Who else in Ashe County history has ever got 14 kilos of meth off the street? And we haven't put those numbers out. From, because we still have another wave to go, and that wave's not going to be done until March or April. But 14 kilos of methamphetamine in about 9 months. And that's pretty impressive. So we haven't released any numbers, any of that stuff. And it's just unbelievable. So we've got our community crime map up that went up last August. We kind of announced it a couple of weeks ago. We needed 6 months to make sure everything's working. Check it out. It's all over the sheriff's website, ashsheriff.com as well as mine. And the events, when you leave today, I'm going to hang out and answer any questions. I've got a table out here with early voting stuff, your regular voting stuff, so grab your packet, the community crime map, the events that are listed on the website are my projects that I've done for the sheriff's office and some that I want to do. We have 4 or 5 lined up in the next 4 years to do. And then, of course, you got a sample ballot back there. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for doing this. Really appreciate everybody. And I obviously can't thank my family enough for being here tonight. And the little one that's in the corner, I'm not sure what she's doing right now. but thank you all for coming. And we're excited about getting our milkshake. So
Thank you, Mr. Howe.
thank you.
Mr. Cox, 2 minutes closing.
Thank y'all. I want to thank you for having an opportunity to be here, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. If I'm elected as your sheriff, I will be my door will always be open to the people, and I will be a sheriff that you will see me out in the community riding around. I'll be getting out talking to people and seeing what your concerns is, something I can address for you, and if you have trouble with any officer, you can come in. We will take that officer inside my office, and we will sit down with you, whoever you are, and we will find out what the problem is that you have had with this officer. That is something I'm going to implement. And another thing is training. I'm going to do lots of training. I'm going to have training once a month with the sheriff's office. And I will work community college. If the college is not certain things, I will introduce my own training once a month. And it's something that I think is good, and a lot of these schools, all these officers went through school, they've had traffic stops and stuff like this, and you've been in it a while, you tend to forget this. So that's something else. I'm gonna bring a lot of this stuff back where you went through your BLAT school. I'm gonna bring you some of these little programs back where you'll have a 4-hour block of that training, and it's be kind of a refresher for you, because that's one thing makes an officer a good officer is training. You gotta have training. And another thing, every officer in my department will be held accountable for their actions. That's something that I've always, in my law enforcement career, that's something that every department I've ever worked at is accountability. And that's something I'm going to. And another thing, our schools, we gotta get more resource officers in these schools to protect our children. And that's something that I want to do. And I thank y'all for the opportunity to be here, and I appreciate your vote on March 3rd. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Mr. Cox, Mr. Shepherd, Mr. Howell, thank you very much for being with us tonight and participating. Let's give them a round of applause. Speaking on behalf of the Ashe County Republican Party, I thank you very much for attending. And we have a word now from our treasurer, Ms. Lloyd.
The questions that we took up, we only had time for one. Todd McNeil has graciously offered, we're going to do an interview with him and some of the other candidates. So if you'll keep a look out on the Ashe Republican Party webpage, Facebook, you'll see the recorded interviews with some of the questions were directed to certain Board of Education members, some of them to certain sheriffs, and we're going to go and interview them personally.
Again, thank you for being with us. We made every opportunity to try to reach every candidate to be here and participate. I'm thrilled with the participation from all three of our groups. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Are we done?
I know, she was so excited.
I guess you heard that.
She's that good.
He's trying to hit that threshold. Okay, sounds good.